Welcome back to r/neighbors from hell, where people share stories about their crazy neighbors. And if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to join our amazing community. And without any further ado, let's dive right into the stories. And the first one is titled, "Lady purposely hit my truck because she did not like where I parked, so I got revenge with mice." I was visiting my cousin who lives on a street that has no garages and very few driveways. Everyone parks on the street. This makes for a lot of people having to find parking where they can and walk to their house since the parking is scarce. I park across the street from his house at the first open space. There's no reserved parking, handicapped signs or anything, it is just street parking. When I come out to leave, a car has parked in front of me, but it has actually hit my truck and is still sitting there touching it. It didn't do a ton of damage, but it did dent my bumper and my grille. I assume the driver just did not realize what they did. It is not a big enough deal to call the cops, and I don't know what house they are attached to, since few people end up lucky enough to park in front of their own house. I am basically going to forget about it unless I can see the car's owner. I snapped some pictures and wrote down the license plate. Just then another neighbor comes out and tells me he watched the car park and that the driver was mad someone had parked in front of her house and she had her passenger get out and direct her to back up enough to just barely hit my truck to teach me a lesson about parking in front of her house. The neighbors tells me about how she has done this before to other people's cars, how everyone on the street hates her, how he has caught her red-handed putting her extra garbage bags next to his trash can on garbage day because she thought he had already gone to work. Those extra bags cost extra to haul, that she has taken people's cats and dogs to the animal shelter and instructed them to be put down. She dumped dog poop on the cars of people she thinks own the dogs, just a real witch of a woman. So I am pissed now, and rather than confront her and need to get police involved, I just decided to get revenge. First I took a diabetic syringe and shot some super glue into all the house's exterior door locks, and then me and my cousin had drinks on his front porch while we waited for her to get home. When she got there, I saw a spinster, grouchy-faced lady in her late 40s, early 50s. She gave us a glare for no reason as she got out of her car. She, of course, couldn't get her key to work, and we watched her try to get in her house for an hour before a locksmith showed up. He couldn't figure it out either. She ended up getting a contractor to come out and break in, then replaced all the locks. She never had a clue why it stopped working. I wasn't finished yet though. The next day I went there with a can of pepper spray and I sprayed her front door handle with it. Pepper spray leaves behind a slight oily residue. People touch their face way more than they realize. So again I waited on the porch with cousin to see her come home. 15 minutes after she got home, she comes running outside holding her face and screaming. She tries to get in her car but cannot see to drive. We ask her if she's okay and she doesn't know, so we call an ambulance and she goes to the hospital. She comes home and says the doctor thinks it is an allergic reaction, and instead of thanking us for helping her, instead she says if we were decent neighbors we would have driven her to the hospital and saved her the cost of the ambulance. She tells us we are as worthless as everyone else on this street. So I decide I am still not done. I wait a few days and drove to visit my cousins again, and her car is not around. So I walk around her house just inspecting. I see a small broken window pane in a basement window. She has an unfinished basement, so you can see through the dirty glass. So I went to the local pet store and bought 100 gray mice, making sure to get 50 males and 50 females plus some rodent food. So I went back to her house and dumped all 100 through the broken window along with sneakily dropping in the food. Do you realize how fast 100 breeding pairs of mice will turn into 1,000? Maybe even 10,000? So a month later she has major exterminations over, and a week after that she puts her house up for sale. All the neighbors badmouthed the house to all the potential buyers, and she ended up accepting an offer over 100k less than her asking price. Good riddance, now nice people live there. Karma is a witch. And I gotta say guys, that was really a karma slam down, if you could say that. This is, in my opinion, really the prime example of a neighbor from hell getting what she or he deserves. And the next one is titled, What should I do about the crappiest neighbors in the world? Okay, so I am a 20-year-old female in college living in an apartment building. Directly above me is a large family of about 5 people that have been causing issues like it is their only goal in the world. There are 2 teenagers that the dad just leaves. They are completely by themselves 99% of the time. One thing worth mentioning is that they are extremely sketchy people. The whole family is always drunk or high and loud. They have always been very loud, but to be honest, I don't like starting things, so I've just ignored it ever since I moved here. Lately things have escalated extremely. I believe both teenagers share a room above mine and I can hear every step they take. Obviously, I can't do anything about that, but it turned to jumping, stomping and running at 3 AM. No idea why. I would give a light courtesy knock and they would go nuts. They would start running around the whole apartment, slamming stuff, banging on the floor, etc. All because I lightly knocked. This progressed into them randomly blasting music, sometimes at 5 PM, sometimes at 3 AM, usually for an hour. I would pretty much ignore it until it went away. This weekend they have started to hotbox the apartment and now mine smells rank AF. I am fine with weed, but not when you cannot understand that hotboxing will make not just your apartment but mine also smell awful. The thing that is crappy about this is that my apartment is no smoke. That is one of the reasons I moved here. Anyway, move on to last night. I am currently very sick, no, not COVID, thank God, and have a high fever, trying to get rest, all that fun jazz. They start blasting music again at 11 PM. I'm like, great, here we go. I will just ignore it and they will stop eventually, but nope. 1 AM comes, still blasting music. I have classes at 8 AM and a fever, just not having a fun time. I decide to say screw it and go up there to ask them to turn it down. They won't answer the door and now I am really pissed. At 3 AM I have to call security and they finally stopped for 20 minutes. Then they start blasting it 10 times louder. I call security again, same thing happens. I figured there would be no point calling the police except to aggravate them further. They continued to play music until 9 AM the next day, from Tuesday night to Wednesday morning. I slept 20 minutes, 20, and then woke up to them turning the music up more, jumping and slamming things on the floor. It is very obvious that they were trying to piss me off and they definitely succeeded. I haven't been able to sleep since. I got a solid 20 minutes last night while also dealing with a 101 fever. Finally got in contact with the building manager and they are super nice and sympathetic. I figure maybe they will finally do something about this as they are making it out to be a huge deal. But nope, they just give them a call and ask them to chill and now they are back to blasting music like normal. I'm going to be honest, these people genuinely scare me and I don't wanna F with them, but I also cannot live like this. They are definitely mad and management pretty much just made it worse. My question is, what the hell do I do? I am scared if I keep reporting this to management, they will get annoyed and start ignoring it or think that I'm overreacting. They are literally hiding from me, so not like I can talk to them about it. And by the way guys, this story is part of a little series that we will finish today. So the next story you will hear is part of the same series and about the same neighbors. And by the way, if you would be in OP's situation, what would you have done in regards to these awful neighbors? Please let us know in the comments. And the next part of the saga is titled Neighbors Won't Stop Smoking Weed in Their Apartment. So I feel like an a-hole for this and I try to be chill, but I'm really not sure what to do. I live in Florida where it is illegal to smoke weed. I don't really have any negative opinions on weed, just when my whole apartment reeks of it. I moved here about 6 months ago and ever since I moved, the family who lives above us has been smoking all day non-stop. They are not opening windows, just letting it all seep into our apartment. The smell is so strong it literally wakes me up. I highly suspect that they are blowing the weed into the vents of the apartment to avoid having the smell in theirs. We live in a no-smoke apartment and it is right next to the office, so if they blew the smoke out of the window, it is highly likely they would get caught. It smells like we are the ones smoking weed because it is so intense. The family is a dad and 2 kids who all smoke. I know that the kids are doing it because we have spoken to our neighbors before for a noise issue. The kids were blasting music all night on a weekday while the dad wasn't home, and he mentioned that their room was the one with the noise above mine. My bedroom is the place that smells the strongest. This is also concerning because one of the boys is only 10 years old. We have told them multiple times that the smell is bad, but they haven't stopped. It's starting to linger and I'm going to be interning in criminology soon. If I smell like weed at all, my career would be ruined. I have mentioned to the landlord once before that they were smoking and they literally just called our neighbors and asked if they were, to which they obviously said no. Should I keep messaging them about it? Is there any way to prove it? I don't want to get the police involved, so are there any other options if the landlord is not really doing anything about it? And the next entry in the awful neighbor saga. It is titled, I am so tired. This is pretty much a vent post because holy crap, my neighbors are awful. I've tried everything and they just don't stop. I moved here below the problem family about 6 months ago and it has been hell ever since. The family is a guy and his 2 kids, one is a teenager and one is a child. Now the dad says he works late, but he is never home. I see him probably once a week. He has the worst kids I've ever had to deal with. They act fine if he is home, which is how I know if he is, but if he isn't, they do whatever they want. I try to be nice about it at first. They like to blast music heavily at random times, especially if they have their friends over, and when their friends are over, it is hell. They smoke a ton of weed that makes the apartment reek, and we are a no-smoking building, so they hotbox the apartment to not get caught as management is right next to us. They like to run around and wrestle a lot, but I feel like nothing can be done about that. It is just super annoying when it is 1 to 3 AM on a weekday. The worst came to a head when they decided to blast music all night on a Tuesday. I am talking from 8 PM to 8 AM. I knocked and they didn't answer. I called security, they stopped for 5 minutes and then started again. I ended up emailing the management who talked to their father. He came and apologized to me but said they were not playing music and that he was home all night. This was 100% BS. I literally stood outside their door and heard the music coming from their apartment. I know he wasn't home as he only works graveyard and they only do this if he isn't. After this they stopped the music but started smoking at all hours of the day, and after a month of this I convinced the dad to stop doing it in the apartment and not allow the kids to do it either. I can tell the kids are pissed about this as now they like to randomly jump, slam doors and just make random loud noises at random points in the night, which never happened before. It was somewhat okay and I can live with that even if it is heavily annoying. The dad is friendly to us when he is here and the kids like to act like everything is fine when they see us, but this Friday really effed things up. They had friends over all day, were being very loud but whatever, and then the music started again extremely loud. I have a ring at my front door and I could see my other neighbors coming outside to look to see where it was coming from. You could hear it from the parking lot, so I say okay, time to knock on their door, ask them to stop. They don't answer again, but I was expecting that. So I call security and they do stop. I wasn't expecting that, so I was pretty happy. An hour later, they just started yelling very loud, not sure if it was at each other or just cursing my existence, but that is when they started freaking out. For the next 3 hours, they just started slamming things on the floor. I am talking heavy items. I'm pretty sure a hammer was involved. This was paired with jumping and hitting the wall over and over again. I am honestly amazed that they didn't tire themselves out. I didn't say a peep, but I silently sat there and recorded all of it. This whole event happened from about 12 AM to 3 AM. I also made sure to timestamp the video as well. I'm honestly kinda happy because up until this point I had no evidence of them doing this crap, and although I have talked to them, I suspect management did not realize how severe it really was. In the video you can very clearly hear my roof shaking and that they were obviously in one spot doing it, not walking or stomping, just blatantly slamming things on the floor. Even in the video the bangs are so loud, my brother jumped when I showed it to him. I emailed it to them first thing in the morning and I am excited as hell for them to get back in office tomorrow. I am pretty sure this qualifies as blatant harassment / retaliation. I'm just amazed that they thought that making as much noise as possible was a good response to a noise complaint and to think that I wouldn't record it. The teen is definitely old enough to know what he is doing is stupid. It sounds cruel, but I honestly hope they get evicted or move to another apartment. There has been at least 3 nights I stayed up all night because of the noise level, and my mental health has gone so downhill living here. I cannot handle living like this, and I cannot even have people over because it is too embarrassing. I cannot talk to the dad because he's never there, I cannot call security because they will get louder, and it just feels hopeless. I work full-time as well as being a full-time college student, and I just feel like I never get to have any peace. I also cannot afford to break the lease and move out. Management offered to move me, but to an apartment with rent that is $300 more a month, and I cannot afford that. My only hope is for management to severely crack down on them, but they have done that to no result. Update: it seems like management is actually taking this very seriously. Surprisingly, they have brushed off other issues in the past, but I'm guessing evidence that they are doing this on purpose has pushed them over. They seemed super shocked by the video. They haven't said what is happening except that legal action is going to be taken, and they cannot give other details. Not sure if that is hinting at eviction. And the last one is titled, "They Are Finally Gone." I am literally in shock. I am so happy right now, I could cry. I 100% gave up on the hopes that they would be evicted a few days after I posted this. I told myself I wouldn't get that lucky and I would just have to live with this until I could get out of here. But nope. I walked outside and they are moving, baby. And here I was stressing out about my 7 AM final that is on a Saturday, as I knew I would get zero sleep on a Friday night with them here. I went to take my dog out and there was a U-Haul with the dad putting their stuff in it. I actually talked to him and he was really nice, never mentioned anything, we were just talking about my dog. I actually overheard him the other day talking about the video while I was taking my dog outside. He was talking to my neighbor and probably didn't know I was there. He was really mad at his son, talking about how he needs to get his behavioral issues under control before he pisses off the wrong people. I haven't interacted with the dad much, but I'm happy he is not blaming this on me and understands his kids are the ones in the wrong. Anyways, I'm just ecstatic. I know it is awful to be happy a family is getting evicted, but God, they were absolutely horrible. I don't remember the last weekend I slept more than 5 hours. I'm thinking they probably had prior complaints and issues with management outside of the apartment, as his kids also often trashed the pool multiple days a week and blasted music there as well. Y'all, document everything. I didn't think it would work, but after complaining multiple times and getting nothing, all it took was one video. Edit: I found out from my upstairs neighbor's mom today, who lives downstairs, that she wanted them gone too and that they were awful and the dad was dealing drugs upstairs. She said their eviction was a 24-hour one, which means management probably found out about it. She also said the kids were so badly behaved that she would not even let them in her apartment. Super happy to find out I was not overreacting this whole time. Apparently they've been getting a ton of complaints about them. And Ripe stars, unfortunately we have already reached the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed the content. However, if you cannot wait for more Ripe content, then I suggest you head on over to patreon.com/ripeyoutube, where you can find more exclusive Reddit content read by me. Patreon subscriptions start at just $1 per month, and for $1 your name will show up at the end of each of my new videos. However, if you are willing to spend $3 per month, you will get access to more than 50 exclusive Reddit videos, mostly just no mother-in-law stories. However, please understand, I don't want to pressure anyone into spending money, because I am already incredibly grateful that you watch my videos every single day. Thank you so much for your daily support, it really means the world to me, and I hope to see you again tomorrow for the next video.